Yes, sir.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim.
Yes.
Yesterday we talked about a brief background over academic writing. Fine. In today's class, we'll talk about avoiding plagiarism. What is
Yes.
plagiarism? How to avoid it? We have already talked about it a little bit, if you remember, in the class. Fine. But
Yes, sir.
still, let's discuss these things in detail. Safir, Huda, Iqbal, everyone, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Yes,
fine.
sir.
Sir.
Fine. So, what are we going to discuss in today's session? First of all, we will discuss what is plagiarism and how to avoid it. Okay. Then let me pick a pointer. Here it is. So the first point which we will discuss, that is what is plagiarism and how to avoid it. Then we'll talk about in-text citation and bibliographical references, which we have already discussed in detail. Fine. Each and every aspect of
Yes.
bibliographical references and in-text citations, we are done with these things in the class. But still, we will just give it, a brief overview. Then paraphrasing, how to paraphrase a text, why is paraphrasing important, and summary writing. These are the main concerns of today's class. So let's begin with the very first one. What is plagiarism and how to avoid it? Plagiarism means taking ideas or words from a source without giving credit, fine, or without acknowledgement to the author. When we take the idea of someone or the words of someone, of some author, fine, or some source, and we do not give credit, we do not acknowledge the source, we do not acknowledge the author, fine. This is what we call plagiarism. By acknowledge, I mean, if you remember those in-text citations and bibliographical references, let's suppose if Hussein Saab has written a research paper and I copy a paragraph from there or an idea from there, and I do not provide the in-text citation in the bibliographical reference. This is what we say, when someone copies the ideas of another person and does not give the credit to the author, does not acknowledge the source. So this is what we call plagiarism. Fine. Copying ideas from someone else's research paper or book or any source, or fine, and do not giving in-text citation bibliographical references. This sort of copying is called plagiarism. Not only ideas, there are other words as well. uh, Plagiarism, it is in the kind of theft. It is an academic crime. Fine. Uh, such people are called intellectual thieves. Keep in mind, people who steal ideas from other
Yes,
people or
sir.
steal words from other people, they are called intellectual thieves. And keep in mind, intellectual thieves nowadays in Pakistan, particularly, they are all around. Okay, so
Yes.
plagiarism. One more thing, plagiarism is a crime. It is an academic crime. Fine, but there are some situations when, like, scholars or researchers or students, they say that I have copied this idea, but I was not aware. Fine. Abdullah is raising hand again and again. Safir, this one. Safir, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Abdullah.
Abdullah is not hearing you, sir.
He's not hearing me. Ask him to follow the snapshot which I had sent to you, which I sent you yesterday in the group. Okay, with an arrow towards the left down corner. Ask him to follow that step, please. Okay, so sometimes students or researchers, they say that they have copied an idea, but they were not aware that that idea belongs to someone else. Fine. Simply, they claim an unconscious plagiarism. They say that they were not aware that it is plagiarism. Fine. Believe you me, plagiarism is a crime, but unconscious plagiarism is twice a crime. Fine. So इससे like आप कोर्ट वगैरह में नहीं बच सकते कि I was not aware that these ideas belong to someone else. No, these things cannot save you then. Fine. So what you need to do in order to avoid plagiarism is to read each and every research paper, read each and every book, each and every source related to the topic you have chosen for your own research study or for your own essay. Then
Uh,
G-
Sir, may we say that that the Copyright Act also comes under it?
Exactly, Copyright Act. When
Yeah,
someone
copyright.
writes a book or writes a research paper, they actually, gets the copyrights from the publishers.
Yes.
So when copyrights rights are violated, that is a crime, and that is what plagiarism actually is. Fine.
Yeah, because the person can, face legal implications also in that
Exactly,
case.
exactly. You are very much right. G. In academic work, ideas and words are seen as private property. Fine, when you write a research paper, that is your private property, just as your car, just as your smartphone, just as your land, your research paper and your book is also your private property. So if someone makes an attempt to steal your property from you, it means that is a crime. Fine. So just like a car, just like a land, or just like money, ideas and words are also your private property. So if someone steals your ideas from you or your words from you, it means that the person is committing a crime. Okay, he is stealing your property. Fine. So that is why plagiarism, it must be avoided. Now, when
Yeah.
students write essays, or when they write research papers or books, find any kind of academic writing, they are expected to show that they have read the principal experts on a subject by giving citations. Fine. They are expected to show that they have read the principal experts. Principal experts means like they have gone through the most famous and the most closely researched papers, books, magazines, each and everything. Fine. They haven't missed a single source related to that particular topic. Fine. When you give bibliography, when you give in-text citations, like according to Han, Chomsky's of the opinion, according to Mr. So and so, according to Miss So and so. So this is how you give references, and you show that you have read the literary works, okay, the sources, the study materials of these people. Okay, so this is what the students are expected to do. The second one, students are expected to explain these ideas in their own words and come to their own original conclusions. Fine. So you two things can be concluded so far. While writing your literature review, particularly, or essay, or any other kind of academic writing, you're supposed to provide in-text citations and bibliographical references. Number two, you're supposed to write those ideas in your own words. So when you write those ideas in your own words, this is how you can avoid plagiarism. But plagiarism is not only stealing the words, rather the ideas as well. So when you when you copy the idea from someone, and then you write it in your own words, you will have to provide the in-text citation in order to show that you have read the research paper or the book or the source of that person, and you have get the idea from there. Fine. जी सफीर.
Yeah.
सर एक स्टूडेंट है समीर अजीशान, उसको भी आवाज सुनाई नहीं दे रही है, और किसी ने अपना वो ऑडियो ऑन की है, तो वो जब सांस ले रहा है या बात कर रहा है तो आपकी आवाज अच्छी तरह सुनाई नहीं दे रही सर.
Okay, fine. uh, Let me check it. Actually, Zoom allows us to have a session of 40 minutes only. That is why I'm in a hurry. uh, Samir Zishan.
सर अगर हम ये म्यूट कर देंगे तो ठीक हो जाएगा ना सर. कोई है जो ऑन करके बैठा है, और
ये भी ठीक है, अगर आप लोग माइक्रोफोन्स ऑफ कर ले तो इट वुड बी बेटर.
यस सर.
I don't know what's the problem with Samir, but please tell him to follow that step. Okay, that is the only way out. Should we continue? Okay,
यस सर.
fine. Why students must avoid plagiarism? There are actually four reasons. There are so many other reasons as well, but these are the most important reasons. Copying the work of others will not help you develop your own understanding. That is why you must avoid plagiarism. Fine. Number one, copying the work of others will not help you develop your own understanding. If you copy idea from someone and you simply paste it into your own research paper, your own essay, it will not help you to develop your own understanding. Like you will have no understanding of the topic of the subject. Okay, you will simply copy the idea of someone and you will paste it in. That is okay, fine. You will have no understanding of the subject. I have turned off the mics. If someone want to share opinion, his or her opinion, they may turn on the microphone then. The second reason, you must avoid plagiarism to show that you understand the rules of the academic community. Okay, all the people who write research papers, who write books, reports, progress reports, essays, each and everything, all these people, intellectual people, they come together in around the globe. They formulate, an academic community throughout the globe. So if you avoid plagiarism and you do not copy the ideas of someone else. Okay, you write those things in your own words, and then you mention the sources, you provide the in-text citations. So you are actually, you are following the rules of the academic community. Okay, you are conforming to their rules, that these are the rules. I'm not stealing the ideas of anyone, just as we do in our society, that we follow the rules of society. We do not, steal the property of anyone else. The same is the case with academic community, academic society as well. The third reason, you must avoid plagiarism. Why? Because plagiarism is easily detected by teachers and computer softwares. If you remember, I had told you about the Turnitin website. That is a worldwide website which detects plagiarism. Fine. No matter from whatever source you have copied a single sentence, that sentence is detected and highlighted by that software, and that software tells you that where have you detected that sentence from. Fine. And same is the case with teachers as well, because they read more and more. They have nothing to do except reading. They are all the time busy in reading. So they know the difference between the writing style of the, expert people such as the book writers and students or researchers. Look at our supervisor. My supervisor, for example, he knows very well the difference between my writing and the writing of Noam Chomsky and the expert people in the field. Fine. So teachers and computer softwares, both of them can detect plagiarism easily. That is why students must avoid plagiarism, otherwise they get caught. Okay. The fourth reason, it may lead to failing a course or even having to leave college. If copy the idea of someone else, what will happen? Simply it will lead to a failure for you. Okay, because when your plagiarism is the percentage is more than 19%, it is not accepted by university, by the department, by the supervisor. The maximum percentage of plagiarism allowed by HEC, Higher Education Commission, that is only 19%. So if your text, if your essay, your research paper, your research thesis, your book, that is plagiarized by more than 19%, it is, it cannot get published, it will not get accepted. So these are the four reasons, and that is why students must avoid plagiarism. Fine. Now let's move to acknowledging sources. How can we acknowledge sources? How can we acknowledge the author, acknowledge the book or research paper, whatever? So these are the possible solutions. Summary in citation, we summarize the words, we take the idea, we summarize it, we paraphrase it into our own words, and then we provide the reference. For example, Safir Khan, if you remember those examples which I had given you in the class before the
Yes,
COVID-19. Fine. So according to Safir Khan is written
yes.
research paper, for example, so I will write Khan 2015 is of the opinion. Now these are Safir's ideas, but I have written these ideas in my own words. Fine. That is why I haven't put the inverted commas. Then quotation in citation. Quotation in citation means like when you take the exact quotation, the exact words of an author, okay, and you provide the reference, you provide the in-text citation. So Safir Khan, I will write according to Khan or Khan 2015, page 3 is of the opinion that phonological features are of two types and so on and so forth. Fine. So whatever you quote, the exact words of the author, that must be enclosed in inverted commas. They are the inverted commas, you can see here. Fine. And bibliographical references. At the end, you will have to provide the list of bibliographical references, the detailed list. Fine. We have already discussed all these things in detail. Like in a citation, so we have discussed citation for one author, citation from two authors, citations from multiple authors. Fine. Intake citations, citations for an undated source. Okay. All these things we have already done with. So acknowledging the source can help us to avoid plagiarism. Now, why we need to acknowledge the source? Fine. Provide reasons for providing references and citations. The first one, we need to acknowledge the sources. We need to provide references and in-text citations to show that we have read some of the authorities on the subject, which will give which will add weight to our writing. Fine. We let's Authority means like the expert people in the field. Okay, let's suppose if I'm working in the field of linguistics, okay, or in the field of phonology, fungus and phonology, errors in the English diphthong sound, that topic, if you remember. So what will I do if I you know if I provide ideas from the book written by Peter Roach, for example? He's a phonetician. Okay, or Dr. Arshad Mahmood Saab, HUD, Department of English, Namal Islamabad. So if I give intake citations of those people, those authorities, those expert people, and write their ideas in my own words, so it will show that I have read the authorities, I have read the research papers and the books of expert people in the field of phonology. In the field of phonology, fine. So reason number one for acknowledging sources, for giving intake citations and bibliographical references. If I do not provide those references, no one will come to know from my writing that I have read the research papers in the books of those expert and knowledgeable people. The second reason, we need to provide index citations and bibliographical references to allow the reader to find the sources if he or she wishes to examine the topic in more detail. Fine. I had shown you using multimedia, if you remember, projector, LED, sorry, in that class when we were discussing bibliographical references. That when someone is reading your research paper and he or she comes to know about an idea, fine. For example, the idea, if you have provided the reference Sarnam Chomsky, that according to Chomsky, this and that. So if the person gets interested in that idea and the person wants to explore that idea in more detail, he or she will simply go to your bibliographical references list, and from there, the person may find out the name of the research paper or the book, and then they may download the book and they may, read it and explore it in more detail. So that is another reason. The third reason is, let me put aside the bar. The third reason is to avoid plagiarism. That is crystal clear. We provide citations and bibliographical references to show that these are someone else's ideas and I'm not claiming the ideas of someone else, and that is how we avoid plagiarism. Fine. So these are the reasons that we have to provide in-text citations and bibliographical references. Then coming to avoiding plagiarism, how can we avoid plagiarism? So we can avoid plagiarism by paraphrasing, and we can avoid plagiarism by summarizing. Let's discuss these two topics in detail. The first one, paraphrasing. First of all, what is paraphrasing? Paraphrasing means changing the wording of a text so that it is significantly different from the original source without changing the meaning. We change the wording of a text, fine. We read a text like a research paper or essay, anything. We take a paragraph or an idea from there, but we change the wording. Okay, we change the wording and we make it different from the original source. When we change the words, like we change the sentence structure, we change the word order, we change the, we use synonyms and antonyms, fine. This is how we make a difference. We make whatever we write, that we make that thing, that text, different from the original source from which we have actually taken it. Fine. So this is what we call paraphrasing. But keep in mind, without changing the meaning. meaning must be kept intact. Okay, when we paraphrase something, when we write something in our own words, we must, the meaning, it must be kept intact. Okay, we must not render the meaning of that original source. So this is what paraphrasing is: simply writing the idea of someone else in your own words. Now, there are certain techniques for paraphrasing. How can we paraphrase a text? The very first technique is changing vocabulary by using synonyms. If someone has written, for example, the word argues, and you write the word claims, it means your wording is different from that original source. If the original writer, the writer in his or her original source has written the word 18th century, and you here write uh, no 1700s, so there is a difference. The words are changed. Idea is the same, but only the words are changed. Fine. Wages. So instead of wages, if you write labor costs, again ideas the same, but wording that is different. To economize something, to save something. Fine. So again, idea is the same, but words are different. So this is how we can, avoid plagiarism by using synonyms. uh, Note that do not attempt to paraphrase each and every single word, because sometimes we have to, keep some words intact which do not have got true synonyms. For example, the word demand, the word economy, the word energy. Now we do not have any specific synonym for energy. Fine. So how can we write energy then? Okay, so some words we must not attempt to paraphrase each and every single word. Some words, they can be simply copied, okay, and pasted in our own work, but the rest of the words of the sentence must be paraphrased, okay, by using synonyms. The second technique for paraphrasing, that is changing the word class.
Uh, Sir, sorry for bothering you.
It's okay,
Can you
it's okay.
please put on the previous sheet again, sir?
Yeah, sure.
I'm writing it actually.
Sure. I'm
Yeah,
sending.
yes.
I'm sending these. The yesterday's topic in this one as well. I'm sending it in the WhatsApp groups. So if you do not want to write these things,
In the WhatsApp group.
WhatsApp groups which I have created for you people, I'll share you in with you in inbox as well. Don't worry. Fine.
Oh, okay, sir. Okay, okay,
And I'll
okay,
share
sir.
with all of you.
Thank you.
So you should better focus instead of
Okay, sir.
writing the notes. Okay.
Okay, sir.
The second technique for paraphrasing is changing the word class. We may simply change the word class, the grammatical category of a word. For example, writing a noun instead of a verb, or adjective instead of adverb, so on and so forth. So this is how we may paraphrase a text. For example, if there is a text, for example, a sentence, um, the noun explanation. If for example, in a sentence there is the writer has written that he came up with the explanation of the topic, with he came up with the explanation of the topic. Now explanation is a noun. Instead of explanation, we may use the word explain. He explained the topic. Fine. So this is how we may change the word class. Mechanical, mechanize. Fine. For example, they started a mechanical procedure, and we may say they mechanize the procedure, so changing the word class. Elias is with us. Okay, fine. Profitability, like for example, um, we have to, before starting the business, we have to look whether it is profitable or not. Okay, so profitable is adjective. We may instead use the another word class with the having the same meaning. Like we may say, before starting the business, you must look at the profitability of the that thing business. We're running out of time because we are left with only 10 minutes. Let's hurry it up. uh, Techniques for paraphrasing, the third technique, that is changing the word order. We may, instead of using synonyms, or instead of changing the word class, we may change the word order as well. Like uh, look at this one. The best explanation for the British location of the Industrial Revolution is founded by studying demand factors. Now look at the second one. A focus on demand may help explain the UK origin of the Industrial Revolution. Now in this example, we have certain synonyms in a change in the grammatical category of the words as well. Fine, but if you look at the word order, that is different. Okay, explanation. If you look at the word explanation here, so it is here in the beginning, and then in the second sentence we have it in the middle of the sentence. Fine, simply the word order is changed. Let's suppose if in the original in the original source it is written that according to Khan this and that, so we may write first of all the idea in this, then we may say Khan opines. Fine, so this is how we may change the word order for to paraphrase a text. These are the three techniques for paraphrasing. Then we are left with summary writing. So let's get done with summary writing as well. If we are running out of time, then we may start another session as well. We'll take another session of 20 minutes. Don't worry. Starting with summarizing or summary writing. Now, what is a summary? First of all, a summary is a brief statement or account of the main points of something. When we take something like when we take some essay or some paragraph, some research article, some newspaper article, and we provide a brief statement or a brief account of the main points. We simply take the main points and we discuss those main points, okay, very briefly. It becomes a summary. uh, Summary is actually to condense the lengthy sources into a concise form. Fine, to condense the lengthy sources, like if there is a long essay or a long article, and we condense it into a concise form. We write it very briefly, very in a very short form. It becomes a summary of that original text. Then another definition can be a summary is a record in a reader's own words that gives the main points of a piece of writing, such as a newspaper, a chapter of a book, or even a whole book. Fine. When we, Ji Maham City, you want to say something? Okay, fine. Uh, as a summary is a record of like when when we take a newspaper article, a chapter of a book, or even a complete book, and we we write in our own words the basic points, the main points. Fine, it becomes a summary simply. Now
Sir, sorry for bothering you again. Uh, uh,
Gigi,
Sir Suleiman,
Gigi, I'm hearing you.
because I am a repeater in this class.
Gigi.
So can you please provide me the CR number or something, WhatsApp
Sure, sure.
account, so that I
I'll
can
provide it to you. I'll provide it to
contact them
you.
then?
Fine. They should share then the materials with you,
Yeah.
whatever I have shared
Thank you,
with
sir.
you.
Thank you,
Fine.
sir.
Students, keep in mind
Yeah,
when
exactly, sir.
this session ends, fine, we have to start another session as well, because we are left with 6 minutes only. I couldn't entertain your questions yesterday, so I'll entertain your questions as well. Stages of summary writing. While writing summary, we have to go to certain stages. The first stage is read the original text carefully and check any new difficult vocabulary. Let's suppose if we are given uh, an essay and we are asked to summarize that essay, first of all we need to read the original text carefully, okay, and we need to look for any difficult word, any unfamiliar word, vocabulary item. Fine. Let's suppose if there is any difficult word, we may guess the meaning of the word from the context, but if we fail to guess the meaning from the context, then we may consult a dictionary. The second step, mark the key points by underlining or highlighting. Fine. When we are done with the understanding of each and every single word, then we should mark, okay, or we should point out, or we should underline and highlight the important key points. Okay, leaving the extra details, the unnecessary details of focus should be on the main points and the key points. Okay, then summarization is here again. In the third step, make notes of the key points. paraphrasing where possible. We look at those points which we have highlighted or underlined or any other source of pointing out, fine, and then we make notes for ourselves. The notes can be in the form of short points, they can be in the form of copying the most important sentences, but we make our own notes. Okay, then in the fourth step, write the summary from your notes, reorganizing the structure if needed. We take those points, the main points, the notes which we have noted down, we reorganize them, okay, and we write our own summary. The final step, that is check the summary to ensure it is accurate and nothing important has been changed or lost. uh, so these are the five steps. First of all, we need to write to read carefully the original text. Then we need to highlight or underline to point out the important points. That in the third step, we have to write the main points, okay, in the form of notes, in the form of short points. And in the fourth step, we need to reorganize those ideas, those points, and we need to write those words in our own language, in our own words. In the last step, that is, we need to proofread it or to get it proofread by our friend or colleague or teacher to make sure that there is no mistake in our writing. Uh, Moving to mistakes to avoid in summary writing, there are some certain most frequent mistakes which people usually do. We need to avoid all those mistakes. Fine. The first one: do not include your own opinion. In some, while writing a summary, you are supposed to summarize whatever the original author has written in his or her own original source. Fine, you need not to include any idea, any opinion from your own side. Simply summarize whatever is there. Do not misinterpret the source to support your own idea. Sometimes when, well, for example, if you are writing in favor of these online classes, for example, if you are writing a newspaper article, okay, and uh, people have written, sometimes it happens that we are actually, we have got that the concept of destruction and the habit of destruction in our minds. So usually we do that thing now. Let's suppose if someone is writing a newspaper article against these online courses or anything else against a political party, so one must not misinterpret the original source for supporting his or her own idea. Okay, this is what people usually do. This mistake is usually committed. We must avoid such sort of mistakes. The third one: do not judge the author or a document if someone has written something that is, his or her own choice. We are not in the authority to judge someone. We are just supposed to summarize, not to judge. Fine, we are writers, we are not judges. That is why our task is to summarize and not to judge the author or the document or the ideas over there. The fourth one: do not question source or the idea. If someone has written something, we need not to put that thing in, to question. Okay, we need not to raise question again those things that these ideas are not correct or these are, against the norms and values of society or the political norms or anything else. We just need to summarize them. The fifth one: do not include a review or evaluation of what you think. What you think, that is something else. Fine, you are not supposed to write what you think. You are just supposed to summarize whatever the original author has written. So this is all about today's topic. Fine. What is plagiarism? How to avoid it? Plagiarism can be avoided by acknowledging the sources. It it is avoided by paraphrasing the text and by summarizing the text. Fine. These are the techniques for paraphrasing, and then this is what summary is. Stages involved in summary and mistakes to be avoided in summary writing. And this is all. The time is over for this session because less than 1 minute. We're left with few seconds only. So let's start another session for the question and answer session, please. Thank you so much.